There are obviously an awful lot of things that went wrong for the 49ers in the Super Bowl, but among them all, the most inexcusable is what we've learned about day after, game after, that the 49ers didn't even know the new overtime rules or how they worked. Eric Armstead admitted as much after the game in a piece by Arif Hassan on The Ringer, where he was talking about how the Kansas City Chiefs had been preparing for new overtime rules since training camp, going over strategies, thinking, yeah, with the new overtime rules, with each team getting a possession, you of course want the second possession. You don't want the first possession because you then know what you need to do, and you then know if you are in 4-down territory the entire length of the football field when you get that second possession. The 49ers did not do the same in terms of preparing for a new overtime strategy in the Ringer. Multiple San Francisco players said after the game that they were not aware that the new overtime rules are different in the playoffs than they are in the regular season. And strategy discussions over how to handle the overtime period did not occur as a team. Defensive lineman Eric Armstead said that he learned the details of the postseason rule when it was shown on the Allegiant Stadium Jumbotron during a TV timeout after regulation. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk, again, Harvard, smart guy, said he assumed that the 49ers asked to receive when they won the toss because that's what you do in the regular season when a touchdown wins the game. I guess that's not the case. I really don't know. I don't really know the strategy, Juszczyk said. Holy mackerel. You can talk about an awful lot of what blame goes to Kyle. Nothing goes to Kyle in the blame game more than that. That is, look, is Kyle responsible for a punt that goes batty, for a sack that his offensive line gives up? In some ways, yes, but in other ways, no. That's on players. But when it comes to thinkery, like football thinkery, that is where Kyle Shanahan has it all falling on him. I'm sorry. That is absolutely pathetic, and it just makes me think, you know, as good as a coach as Kyle is, and let's not have a total revisionist history to where on Tuesday after the Monday after the Super Bowl is played, we're all sitting here going, the guy can't coach. The guy can't coach. He can coach. The question is he a wartime consigliere? Is he a wartime consigliere? Does this guy know how to get it done when the chips are down? There is no evidence that he does. Not yet, anyways. You know, it did take Andy Reid 21 years to win his first championship. Kyle is in year 7, but he has had multiple bites at the apple. This man has now had multiple 10-point leads in the Super Bowl, and he's seen them evaporate. And going to overtime, it felt like his team was unprepared. And when it comes to team preparation, that, boys and girls, is on the head coach and head coach only. That is terrible. So are you telling me that somebody on this team might have known the rules, but Fred Warner didn't, which is why he's calling will receive when he goes out for that overtime coin toss? I mean, honestly, to be completely honest, I wasn't that aware of the rules, and I was already broadcasting since I go live at the 2-minute warning, and I didn't hear Bill Vinovich's explanation. And but I'm on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I am not an NFL head coach. That is as damning an admission of incompetence, negligence, being unprepared for the biggest game of the year that I can imagine. We didn't know the rules is never an acceptable reason to get out of trouble. It's, you know, like, oh, officer, I didn't know what the speed limit was. It doesn't matter that you didn't know. It's your job to know that. You need to know that before you decide, well, I'm just going to go this miles an hour and hopefully it's under the rules. That is ridiculous. That is pathetic. That is inexcusable. Is Kyle going to lose his job? The answer is no. But this man doesn't feel like he is going to be the, if I can quote Steve Young, you know, Super Bowls aren't won, they're ripped from bloody hands. Kyle's are the bloody hands. He's not the one doing the ripping. He's not the one ripping Super Bowls from bloody hands. It's his bloody hands that the Super Bowls have been ripped from. And all I can tell you is that reputations have a way of manifesting themselves into a situation where this is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Kyle Shanahan not being able to win the big one is the kind of thing that takes out really good coaches. Norv Turner, Marty Schottenheimer. Like, we've seen this in the past. Even though we all know that guy is good for whatever reason, when it comes to leading men to champions, they're just not good enough. How many more bites does Kyle get at the apple with this team? The answer is officially one. One. I don't think Kyle Shanahan is going to be allowed to go to and lose another Super Bowl. You can't be 0 for 3. So if the Niners are lucky enough to get back to the next Super Bowl, they need to win that. Or I honestly probably then do move on from Kyle Shanahan and just say, look, if you go become Andy Reid in another city and you win a Super Bowl somewhere else, fantastic. But when it comes to winning Super Bowls here, we're not going to give you a fourth opportunity to do that. You know, regular season success is one thing, and this man's regular season success is considerable. Postseason success is another thing on the way to a Super Bowl, and his postseason success on the way to Super Bowls is considerable. He falls about as flat on his face, and you can even see it under that flat-brimmed hat where you can just look in his eyes, and he knows it's coming. He knows the like you can see the I'm not panicking, but I'm internally dying inside look just comes across Kyle's face. We all know it. We've seen it too many times. Absolutely brutal. Brutal, devastating loss for the 49ers, for 49er fans, for Kyle's reputation. It's bad. It is bad that this comes out the day after the Super Bowl, that the players didn't even know the overtime rules. Holy shit. That is, to say that is not good, is the understatement of the year. Unbelievable. As detailed-oriented as Kyle Shanahan is, as meticulous a planner as he is known to be, that he would let his team walk into a Super Bowl without an acute awareness of what happens if we go to overtime here is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It is unacceptable. It is unjustifiable. It is undefensible. Kind of like Patrick Mahomes. Now, at no point in time do we need to sit around here and say this is all on the 49ers for losing this game because the Kansas City Chiefs are this much better than the 49ers. The 49ers are this. The Kansas City Chiefs are this. They are champions. They got champions' blood. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce, just the three of them, have more know how to win the big one talent than the entire collective roster of the 49ers and their coaching staff, and that was in full evidence in that game. An unjustifiable loss for Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers that looked bad in the moment it occurred and looks even worse the day after when we find out Kyle and his team didn't even know the damn rules.